Hi everyone, my name is Roman Luzanov. In this video I will show you a real experience of using mouse with iOS device without jailbreak, hacks or anything like that. First of all, I should know that iOS doesn't support mouse at all. That's why you cannot connect a regular mouse to your iOS devices. And that's why I made my own mouse and keyboard which can be connected to iOS device like iPad. To be more precise, I remade electronic parts of these devices and now I can connect them like any other Bluetooth device. Of course, I also implemented transmit protocol and wrote a framework. Using this framework, I can easily integrate supporting my device to any iOS project. Also, I should note why I made my own keyboard. Because it's possible to connect regular Bluetooth keyboard to iOS device, and the reason is that a regular keyboard has a limit in iOS. When some specific key is being pressed, iOS notifies application only about event of pressing down, but not about pressing up. That means that there is no way to determine if some specific key is pressed at current moment. But this ability can be important for some applications, especially for games. That's why I remade electronic parts of this keyboard. The keyboard sends notification when keys have been pressed and released. In the same time, using regular keyboard is good only for text typing. Here is some demo. Here I have a black square which I want to move using keyboard. Using regular keyboard, I can move it only by some distance when some key has been pressed, like this. But it would be great to have some method which is called every frame, and inside this method I can ask system has some specific key been pressed or not, and move my black square according time between frames, and what exactly my keyboard does. Let's write some simple application which interact with my mouse and keyboard. Create a new Xcode project. Let's name it input test. Now first of all I need import my framework. I name it input. Don't forget add my framework to embedded binary section. Okay, let's import my module. Now I need to specify that my view controller implements input delegate protocol. Let's initiate input and let's add my view controller to list of input delegates. So from now this view controller will be notified about different input actions. Now let's add some view we will interact with. Okay, next let's write some code which makes possible to move the view by clicking left mouse button on the view and move it on the screen. First of all, I add a variable which indicates if my view was selected. Now I need to implement several delegate methods. The first is called when some mouse button has been pressed. Here I check if I press left mouse button. Then I check if I click exactly on my view. Now implement method which is called when some mouse button has been released. Here I set variable to false when left mouse button has been released. And finally, this code directly moves my view. That's all I have to do for moving my view. Pretty straightforward. Now let's run the app. For the first time I see a view which tells that a new mouse device has been found. I can swipe up to dismiss it or tap to connect this device. As you can see, after I have tapped on the view, mouse was connected and now I can use it. Let's check how it works. Okay, looks like it works fine. Now let's add code for keyboard. I will write code to move my view on every frame. For this I need an instance of canDisplayLink and a variable of double type. I will use it to calculate delta time. Let's need my last time variable. Now display link. Okay, let's implement update frame method. Some lines of code to calculate delta time. Okay, and these lines to move my view with the keyboard. I hope it's pretty simple to understand. These lines just move the view. Okay, now let's run this code and check it. Great, everything works good. Now let's try some more interesting thing. This is a demo project of Xcode from Apple developer site. Let's download it and adopt for working with my devices. Let's open Swift project. Okay, for the first time, let's just run the project as is and see what we have. Well, it works fine. Now let's make it work with my devices. Firstly, import my framework. Don't forget add my framework to embedded binary section. Now I open game view controller file. I specify that game view controller implements input delegate. Now inside view didLoad method, I init input framework and add game view controller to input delegates list. Also, it's better to remove it when view controller is deallocated. Here we have pan camera methods. This method is responsible for rotating the camera. So I just need pass value from didMoveMouse method to pan camera method. like this. Okay, and finally I remove this inertia animation for camera. I don't want to use it. Okay, let's run and check. As you can see, it works, but there is some problem. Mouse pointer moving is limit of screen size. Well, the solution of this problem is very simple. I just set mouse pointer position to the center of the screen every time I move my mouse. Let's check it if it works. Yes, great. The only thing I need to do now is hide mouse pointer. Now let's add some code to control the character with my keyboard. Open game controls file. Here I have control direction method. This method returns the direction where the character moves. Here I will use a new variable which I will be set according to pressed keys of my keyboard. Okay, now let's run it. Great, everything works fine. As you can see, with my framework and just few lines of code, I was able to make this demo works with my devices. Let's move on. Games are a really good way to demonstrate how cool interact with the iOS device via mouse and keyboard. So let's use some game engine to continue my experiments. Now I will use Unity for it, because I already had some experiments with that game engine. Let's open it and set up a new project. First of all, I download Space Shooter tutorial project. Then I create a new project and import the space shooter template to my project. Now let's open done main scene. Run the game and see how it works. Here I use keyboard keys to control the spaceship and left mouse button to fire. Let's run this project on iPad and see how it works. Don't forget to add current scene to build. Okay, let's open Xcode project. Let's select team. Well, as you can see, the only thing I can do is to fire by touching screen, so there is no any support for mobile platform. And let's add support for my devices. I go back to Unity. Here I add a new script named Input Manager. Then I create empty game object which has the same name, Input Manager. And add my script to the object. Let's open the script and see what's inside it. This is a native plugin which will be interact with my framework. The instance of this input manager will send events when input actions happen to input delegate game object. Let's choose this object. This done player game object will receive all input actions. Okay, now I open done player controller script. Let's create start method. Again, at the beginning, let init input framework and hide mouse pointer. Then I change the code of mouse control. And this code for moving spaceship by keys of keyboard. Finally, I open game controller script and replace code of scene resetting. Okay, now let's update Xcode project with due changes. Unity create Objective-C project, and my framework is written on Swift. So I need to go to build setting and change the following settings. I must set yes for all descended Swift standard libraries options. Also set yes for enable modules options. Then I import my framework. Don't forget add my framework to embedded binary section. Then I need add these files to the project. The instance of this input manager class interacts with input manager from Unity. Great, it works perfect. But let's change code so I can control spaceship with my mouse. Go back to Unity. And open Done Player Controller. Well, but first of all I should copy necessary method name and create this method inside player controller. Okay, here I add a new private variable to store mouse offset. Here I get mouse offset and store it and reset mouse position to center of screen. The last thing is to apply this offset for spaceship on fix update. Okay, let's build and run it. Cool. I also adapted some another project named Weekend Village. And while I'm playing, write your comments. What do you think about this idea? Do you want to have ability to use your mouse with iPad or maybe iPhone? I think it will be awesome, especially for games. Also, press like button if you like this video or share it with your friends.